Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to today's session, track feedback. So we got Mark, we got Reinfried. So for anybody that's not joined one of these so far, basically the process is it's first come, first serve. So pop your link. Oh, we got Reinfried straight in there. But yeah, pop your link straight into the chat and we'll listen to it live. Try make it as easy as possible. So if you do have a downloadable link, that's great. And we can bring it into Ableton. If not, no worries. You can just listen live on SoundCloud or whatever. So we got some people joining, which is great. Now, I will say as well, this for the first time is going out on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. So if anyone's watching this and wants feedback, we only give feedback by people who are on the call. So if you want to join our community, we do free feedback every Wednesday. The link is in the description. You can go join us right there. Pretty straightforward stuff, but otherwise, sit back and let's listen to some tunes. So up first, we have Reinfried. So let me just get Ableton ready so we can listen to Ableton and I can take a listen. Okay. Let me get my screen shared. In fact, let's go to desktop scene so you can see this. Cool. All right. Let's take a listen. So where's Zoom gone for the chat? Let's get that up as well so I have the context. Cool. So just reading this. It's cool. Let's take a listen. Hey, Brandon. If you've got a track, pop it in the chat. Okay, there's some cool stuff here. I would say that the sounds feel a little bit stock in the sense that I think you could bring them to life a lot more with some more grit. So some distortion, saturation, overdrive to help them feel a bit more powerful. Now, I will caveat this with I can barely hear out my left ear at the moment, so I'm having a bit of an issue. But it feels like the drums could do with more smack and punch. Now, in terms of the context of the track as well, like, it's lacking the sense of tension and release and, like, progression to it. Like, we're about a minute or so in, and, you know, this is at, like, 174 BPM, so it's at, like, drum and bass speed. Not much has really changed, and we haven't really got, like, a hook or anything that's going to really, like, compel the listener to be like, hey, this is what the track's about just yet. Some of the sounds as well are very, very loud. Like that kind of pad lush thing. It's very sharp and loud. You ideally want your bass and drums to be the loudest in this style. The kick's barely cutting through the mix. There's a load of random rumble and shit in the low end you don't need. Load of mud as well. It doesn't really have the backing effects that are going to help guide the listener in the direction that things are going to change. So you need to throw in like things like reverse crashes and stuff like that and what have you, to guide it in the listener in the right direction. And yeah, at the moment it doesn't have like a hook or anything that's like, hey, this is the point of the track. If you think about like all really great tracks, they all have some sort of big synth sound or like a vocal or something like that that's going to really capture the listener's interest, right? At the moment there's some cool stuff in the background, but you don't really have anything super strong and upfront that's going to be like, hey, this is the point of the track, if that makes sense. Like, this pad sounds so loud. It should be much quieter. The delay as well on that sound, I would filter out the delayed signal. I don't know if you're an Ableton guy or whatever, but on pretty much every delay, you have a filter section. Cut out the lows, maybe cut out some of the highs. That will create more separation on that delay, on that sound. Because it just sounds like the same sound over and over again. You can't, well, you kind of want to go so it gets like thinner and more sparse, if that makes sense. There's a lot of random rumble taking place here, which you don't need. You should also do something like that. And yeah, that drop just felt a bit underwhelming. I don't know if this... okay, I can turn it down a little bit more, turn myself up, if that helps. But yeah, the purpose of this drop here, I don't really know what that was. It felt very underwhelming. There needs to be a lot more tension and release. There's a lot of like random shit in the low end that you don't need, like a lot of rumble. Like here, like the transition just kind of happens. You need to have reverse effects, like stuff like that, to guide the listener in the right direction that something's going to change. There's some like nice stuff here, man, but like, you know, you need to kind of fix the transitions a lot more, create a lot more tension and release in this track. And like, it needs a much stronger hook as well. This bass as well, I would say, is in the wrong register. You kind of want it to be down, so it's like do 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 do. But you want it bum, 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 bum. It'll sound a lot fuller and fatter. Yeah, I think the mix down as well is quite cluttered. Again, do take it with a pinch of salt because I can only hear out one ear at the moment, which is really annoying. But it does feel a bit like a kind of wall of noise, and there's not really that much separation between the elements. It's not bad, but like, I feel like it could do with like the sounds need a lot more grit and vibrancy and flavor, and it feels a bit like everything's like right up front, whereas you need more of a sense of depth, I think, within the mix. Especially the drums, like they need to be really up front and punching through everything. And the bass needs to sound a lot fatter and fuller. That like crash sound was very loud and harsh. But yeah, I think like, you know, oh, I don't know why you would save that sound for so late. To bring that in early, like this is for a drum and bass track, this is pretty long. If you look at like most drum and bass tracks, they're around the sorts of 2.5 to 3 minutes. these days. They're getting a lot shorter. I don't think you need that long of an intro. Just get to the point straight, like much quicker. You could cut that down. But also like the length of this part here, like it's just kind of dragging on and there's not really much variation or change. You could tell the same story in probably half the time and it would be a lot more concise and impactful rather than it just sort of repeating over and over again, like it kind of does here. So yeah, think about how you can structure it a little bit better. I think the pluck sound at the end, bring that in earlier to create more interest, but you still do need some like signature hook component to make this really stand out, because at the moment it feels like it's lacking that. But it's very cool. It's definitely got a lot of potential. I think, you know, with the right treatment you could clean the mix up, but just think how you can tell a bit more of a compelling story with the arrangement for your listener, and also have a stronger, memorable hook / melody or vocal, or, you know, whatever it might be, just to make it really stand out. But yeah, pretty cool. By the way, Brandon, if you have a track to share, get it in the chat. Otherwise, this might be a short one. But up next, we have Mark. So let me just turn the track down here. So made this today, still needs work, okay? Let's do this so we can listen. Cool. Oh, sorry, I just paused it by accident. I thought there was some weird stop there. My bad. Similarly as well, like transitions are... Oh, sorry. No, it's not downloadable at the moment. Hold on. I think there's a setting in loopback which isn't on. You should be able to hear this. I can turn it up more. Can you hear it now? So yeah, something that I noticed here, like in this part here, like this is always telltale, is the transitions. There wasn't really a reverse crash. I'm keeping it quiet so you can hear me talk over. Ideally, I mean, you should. Let me just double check something. It should be coming out. Oh, right, okay. Now you should be able to hear it. Can you hear it now? Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so the transitions need work. So reverse crashes, rises, stuff like that. Like in this kind of style, you want to be a bit more subtle and nuanced. But yeah, like give that a try. Similarly as well, like the sounds feel a little bit thin and lacking a bit of like grit and power. So distortion, saturation, overdrive, that sort of stuff is going to help bring your sounds to life a whole lot. Especially on the bass, it just sounds a little bit kind of thin and weedy. I think you could make it a lot fatter with some distortion, perhaps. And the kick as well could do with a lot more thump and punch. Cool stuff here. So this little like motif, the dee-dee-dee-dee thing, I think you could play with that a lot more. It does feel a little bit buried and a bit thin, but like you could bring it to life a bit more with the distortion, saturation, and overdrive. Sounds weird. I'm just checking here. I mean, it should just be coming through here. You should just be able to hear this, I believe. Like, it sounds fine to me. Might be because my microphone's a bit hot. I think the snare could be a lot thicker as well on this. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with the sound of thing. It doesn't sound reverb to me. I don't know if it sounds the same to you, Ryan Fried, but yeah, from what I'm hearing is the sense of tension and release here in this break needs to be improved. So this is usually a common theme with many producers, and it's about creating the sense that, hey, something major is going to happen here. Now, this can be things like opening up the filters, playing with like reverbs, like sending it to a big reverb and stuff like that. But here it felt like the energy level was pretty static and didn't really deliver like that sense that you need for the drop. So you might lose some people on the dance floor if you don't master tension release as well. Like, I feel like you could also create more movement in this break by like filtering the kick or something like that a bit later on to create that movement like, hey, something's going to happen, something cool's going to happen. I think as well, like, you need to progress the track a bit further. I appreciate this is a bit more on the sort of minimal side, but not too much has particularly changed in the second drop. There's like a slight variation of the kind of dubby chords, but I think you need to add in like another sound or something. Like, it could be a percussive sound, like a cowbell or something. I mean, I always say cowbell, but maybe not. But there's something that's going to be a bit more upfront and driving, like a ding, da ding, da ding, 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 da ding, da ding. I don't know, just anything. It could be a plucky sound, whatever, but just something that's going to create a bit more movement and an evolution to the track. Because, like, not a whole lot has really changed since over here. I think it could unfold a little bit more. Because, like, you can just kind of skip it, right? And nothing is changing. So part of this is, like, playing with the automation on the sounds. Now, I always bang on about this so much to our clients. And it's so important, guys. So playing with the sounds at source, like the filter cutoff on a synth or, you know, whatever. The ADSR envelopes, to create more of an interesting, evolving sound is going to help your arrangement ebb and flow and get out of the loop, because this feels quite loopy at the moment. Because, you know, if I just skip like all the sounds in terms of their character, in terms of their timbre, they all sound the same. So try have them unfold a bit more over time and like create more of a sense of tension and release and movement within the sounds in the track. And yeah, like again, like not much has particularly changed here. If you skip through. So everything just remains very, very constant and the same. Now, you could cut this track in half and it would still tell the same story. So think how you, well, I would generally say shorter tracks anyway are better in this day and age, no matter what people say. People's listening behaviors have changed a fair bit, and shorter tracks tend to perform better. So, but also it's much easier to make something that's 5 minutes interesting or 4.5 minutes interesting than it is to make something that's 7, 8, or 9 minutes interesting. You have to really, really know what you're doing if you're going to justify a long track length. But I feel like with this length here, not enough has changed to warrant listening all the way through. Like, I've got a pretty good idea of what the track's going to do about here, and then not really anything changes past this point. So, as a listener, there's not really any incentive or reward for me to listen all the way through if it's just doing the same stuff over and over again. You kind of have to think about it that way. So if I get the gist, if I solve the puzzle of your track quite quickly, then it needs to develop more. Otherwise, I'm not going to listen to the whole thing. And that's kind of how listeners subconsciously feel most of the time. If you listen, like the best tracks will, regardless of style, I will say as well. So in dance music, but whether that's a drum and bass track, whether that's a house track or whatever, they unfold really, really well over time, tell a really compelling story. I think you're going to need more elements to tell a compelling story here, but also leaning into the automation and evolution of the sounds is going to help with that. So yeah, definitely got potential. I think needs a bit of work in terms of the mix down and the arrangement, but I think you need to add a few more elements and also try and develop like a really captivating hook that's also going to get locked in the listener's head. Like the did thing is pretty cool. I think that could have potential, but it might need to be developed further for when it could be a really strong hook. But yeah, very, very cool. So yeah, guys, some nice tracks today. Ryan Fried, we only do one track per person each week. So Brandon, if you have something, now would be the time to send it. Otherwise, we will park things there, I suppose. But yeah, some cool tracks today. Do hop on next week. Remember, we do this every week on Wednesdays. So if you want to share some tunes with us next week, we'll be back. And we actually do this for much longer in the Accelerator program. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but we do actually have some very cool stuff going on in the Accelerator. So if you're just new to this community, we've got another community called the Accelerator for people who have a lot more higher intention with their production, who really want to take things to the next level. So we actually have sessions every single day that you can hop on. So there's actually 2 instances of track feedback, and these go until all the tracks are done, which are cool. And there's also like sessions where you can ask us questions, and we do specific trainings as well. But probably the best part is if you guys, particularly if you're struggling with like the arrangement and mix down, every week you can watch myself and Tim produce live on in a studio broadcast where you'll see in real time us making a track whilst explaining what we're doing, which is really cool. Now you'll see how tracks that we're making today will be released on top tier labels in a couple months time. So there was a track we made literally on, when was it? It was in like late December we made this track together on the studio sessions, and it recently got signed 2 weeks ago to a label called 03, who are like really big in the prog house space. So you can literally see us making label ready tunes in real time and ask us questions. Plus everything's recorded. There's a wealth of stuff you can just dive into straight away, and we're actually running a awesome offer at the moment. So normally this is $300 a month, but actually you can hop in right now for $149, and the next 10 people that join, well, there's actually only 6 more spots left, we'll get a private one-on-one with us where we can open up one of your projects for an hour and go and fix everything. So if you want to hop in to that right now and unlock some awesome stuff, I've just popped the link into the chat, and you can grab your one-on-one session with us, plus join a community of awesome like-minded producers who are all wanting to win. And get way more feedback, plus loads of Ableton racks and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So yeah, check that out, because this will really take you to the next level. We generally say that people that work with us for 3 to 6 months, within 6 months or less, you will have at least three label-ready tracks ready for release if you follow the process and do our support, right? So yeah, pretty cool. If you want to check that out, link is there. You can also access it in the Academy here. You just click here on the right, and boom, that will take you there. So yeah, you can check it out. But yeah, until the 28th of March, it's going to be at half price. Otherwise, the price is going to go up. So yes, Ryan Fried, if you have to think about it, I wouldn't think about it too long, because the price is going to bump up. So yeah, guys, let's leave it there, and we'll see you guys next week. I do have a call in a second, so I'll catch you guys next week. We'll be back also on Monday as well for the Ask a Pro session, so you can hop on, ask me specific production questions and what have you. So do make the most out of that. Do make the most out of the community, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care. Bye.